I have Kumar Subramaniam from Chennai and Ravi from Bengaluru. Namaste to everybody. We'll come to you one by one. Yes, Mr. Parthasarthi. Yes, sir. Solunga, sir.
1 minute. Sir, when you were talking to, just before this, you were telling that when you speak in the local language, there is a feeling of camaraderie between the two people, whichever is the state.
Yes.
And you started talking to Mr. Elangovan by saying Vanakkam.
Yes.
But you didn't do it with Mr. Narayanan Thirupathy. I'm not blaming you, but as I was watching.
No, I always...
I have worked all over India. No, I'm not blaming you. It is not a comment against you.
No, you can ask. I will let Mr. Narayanan Thirupathy respond to that. But please go ahead. I get your point. Please make your point. Yeah.
No, speaking in the local language is definitely a good advantage. But in the Tamil Hindi or Kannada Hindi or whatever it is, fight, Hindi vis-a-vis some local languages or the regional languages is definitely not because of the people or the language or the heritage or whatever it is. It is basically a political issue. As far as I am concerned, when I never learned Hindi, but I worked all over India, I could speak Hindi, but I can read a little of Hindi, but I can't write Hindi correctly. Which stars to use, I don't know, out of the 4 stars, whenever I write. But the problem is, this is basically political. People thrive on it. DMK has thrived on it. It was one of the reasons why they came to power, by doing this. But there is a problem with the Hindi-speaking people also.
Correct.
When I worked in North and when I worked in other places, when 3 Hindi people say, they will never speak in English to make you feel comfortable. They will always speak in their language, and sometimes they will be talking, they think that, and I used to behave as though I don't know Hindi, and they will talk very derogatively about you in front of you without knowing that this. So it is a deep-rooted problem which needs to be addressed not by simple. But this comment of Hindi, if you speak Hindi, you will become a Panipurnism, is admitting under the belt, which is not correct.
Correct.
And Mr. Kirangavan was graceful enough, but Mr. Saravanan in another channel was saying that he is right. The same party has 2 different spokespersons taking 2 different positions.
Well, absolutely. Saravanan tried to justify. Saravanan is also a good friend, and he tried to justify the same even when he spoke to us first. But now Mr. T.K. Elangovan, clearly a far senior leader, and he's heard the whole speech, and he said that the attitude, the tone which was adopted is wrong. And I respect that. People can have differing views. Yeah. We'll play out the clipping again. Mr. Parthasarthi, thank you very much. I appreciate your point of view. See, this discrimination happens both ways. It's a long pending thing, festering thing, and the attitude has to change pan-India. It has to change pan-India. The door has to swing both ways, and I agree with that. Kumar Subramaniam from Chennai, thank you. Mr. Subramanian, thank you for your patience. Ravi, coming to you after Mr. Kumar Subramanian. Go ahead, please. You'll have to turn your television set on mute, please. Please turn your television set on mute and then speak to us.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead,
my point is. Oh, yes.
Please turn your television set.
Go ahead now.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, please, if you can speak in English, because or in English.
Okay. I'll speak in English only. My worry is, of course, whatever is happening, whatever uttered by the ministry is wrong, and last week whatever happened, that is also wrong. My feeling is, if in the long run, if we start, learning Hindi, what I feel personally, slowly it will become a third language. But third language means non-speaking Hindi people will learn Hindi, but it will not be there like mother tongue. So what happens after few years, it will become a common language for everybody. That time all competition exam nowadays held by, now also held, future also it will be held in Hindi only. What happens that time, those who are having mother tongue as Hindi, they will find it difficult to get employment. Nowadays itself you will find all over India, most of the North Indians are able to get jobs because of their mother tongue is in Hindi. So there should be a level playing field for everybody. But every language also to be respected. And one more thing, about 40 years back when I was a little knowing Hindi, when I was in Delhi, I was to get down from a bus. I was standing near the food stair. The one person was behind standing me. He was telling, he was standing before me. I was asking, आप उतरेगा क्या like that or something I misfelt. The moment he got down, I also got down. He said, 40 years back, I am telling, you are an Indian, not knowing Hindi, बड़े लोग से कैसा बात करना है, उतरेगा क्या पूछ रहे हो मुझसे, उतरेंगे क्या पूछना, like that, British, आप डूब के मरना चाहिए, क्या क्या used, I could
understand.
I could understand only, because it is there in their blood for 40, 50 years.
No, but Mr. Subramanian, I have also faced this a few 2-3 decades back, but things have also changing. We are also 40 years down the line. Can we also not be a little more accepting and open to all Bharatiya Bhashas and try and learn more of them so that we can understand each other better? That's my thought process. And this condescending attitude is the issue. You may have your brand of politics to play, but let's not use a condescending tone against the speaker of another Indian language. We are all Indians. That's what has to be paramount. I thank you, sir, for your attention and for calling us. Ravi from Bengaluru with us. Yes, Ravi, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Anand Narasimhan. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, please. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Anand Narasimhan, a few quick points. One thing, you are a classical example that you have learned Hindi and then you're not selling Pani Puri, right?
Yes.
That is one thing. And second thing, this is all, see, you will have to catch the point here with the politicians because they are playing it very, very politically. There is no comparison between a local language and Hindi or something because undoubtedly your local language, your mother tongue is number one, right?
Yeah.
That is in the first place. We are always talking about whether Hindi or English. It is for the contention for the second position, not for the first position. Somebody is trying to, people are, especially politicians are trying to divulge and then bring in this point, Tamil versus Hindi or Tamil versus something. But it is not Tamil or Kannada versus the Hindi or English. It is Hindi versus English. Tamil is always, or Kannada is always number one, okay? And the third point what I want to make is, Tamil Nadu, you take Rajini, you take Jayalalitha, all of them are non-Tamilians.
Yeah.
They have served beautifully for the
MGR
people of
also.
Tamil Nadu. And they are considered to be superstars in Tamil Nadu. So they all were originally not from Tamil Nadu, right? So they have got that love towards Tamil Nadu, and this is the age-old war. This was between Karnataka and Tamil, where they used to have this Kaveri dispute, these languages. I mean, like everybody has given their opinion. It is always the politicians who thrive on this. But there is no harm in learning these languages. I'm not surprised if that education minister's son or daughter is learning French or Spanish, probably for making money.
See, not making money. The idea is to leave India and go out. That's why you want to learn the foreign language. But if the idea is to stay in India, then you learn more Indian languages. I have to wind up, but we'll take this forward at 5 p.m. on The Nation at 5 and also later tonight on The Right Stand at 8 p.m. It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll talk about this in detail going forward.